The dinosaurs are dying at last.
Oh, mate.
25 years of fighting against dinosaur thinking in a state agency is coming to an end, and I, for one, am fucking delighted about it. Now, this is not. This is. I do not take any joy seeing businesses go under and people losing their jobs. There is absolutely zero. There's nothing good about anyone losing their job or losing their business, right? That's bad. However, these cycles happen in industries, and I think what most people in the industry know, but has not yet become public knowledge, is that it's going through. We are now here in October, mid-October 2023, and the residential estate agency industry is going through easily its toughest time for, well, I mean, since 2008, certainly, right?
Yep, definitely.
Now, I have, just so you know, I have actually invited agents in the WhatsApp group who want to join in this conversation to join in this conversation. And somebody called Adam Clarkson, who off the top of my head, I don't know who it is, has just, let me just, Adam, could you, if you can hear this, Adam, would you turn your camera on so we can see you? If you want to join in, otherwise go watch it on YouTube. So this is probably going to be a lengthy conversation, and everyone should grab a beer or a coffee or a cup of tea. Or a glass of water. And the beginning and the middle and the end of this is going to be, I'm going to go through a list of the things that I think have contributed to the estate agency industry, backwards looking thinkers coming to the end of their era and dying out. It's already begun, in fact. Like we had it with Countrywide, and I'll come on to that in a minute, right? So I'm going to go through the list of things that I think have contributed to this problem. And then I'm going to talk about what the market right now is doing and going to do. And then I'm going to talk about what I think the future looks like and why it's so much better. Most of all for movers who, after all, the movers are the people paying the bills. I was just out of fun. I'm going to see Anthony, David. Oh, we've got a few people here. Guys, I'm going to just let you come in and join in, actually. But just so what do you got? David Turnbull there, Anthony Antonio. I'm going to put you on mute, guys, for a minute, okay? Or could you mute yourself, Anthony? Could you mute yourself and David? Just hear out, and then challenge me when you want to challenge me. Anthony, can you hear me? Oh yeah, he's muted me. Okay, cool. Thank you. So, why dying dinosaur estate agents are going out of business, what the market right now is going to do to the industry, and why I think it is the best opportunity for service-minded, forward-thinking, professional, honest agents. It's the best opportunity for those guys probably ever. Certainly in the 30 years or so I've been involved in some way, shape, or form in the property market, right? Now, for everyone watching this, Daniel Hamilton Charlton, who is my guest there, the handsome man on the screen at the top right, is the managing director of Property Searches Direct, which is a property search pack provider who I work with on Moving Home with Charlie, and we provide search packs so that people can buy them on the day their offer is accepted. But Daniel, would you just like to just share with everyone your estate agency background briefly, like 30 seconds?
I can fit into 30 seconds. So my original background was corporate estate agency with general accident property services in the very early 90s. And then I moved up to London, working with Ludlow Thompson, established sales departments, opened up a new branch in East Dulwich, worked for Kinley, Folkard and Hayward for a bit, then left the estate agency to set up a web design consultancy, then moved up into Northamptonshire, where I worked with William H. Brown for about 2 months until we fell out because they didn't actually want to progress or do anything different. And this isn't London, Dan, you know. So we parted companies. I worked for a great independent agent, 7-branch firm, and managed a couple of branches to great success until eventually I left estate agency in about 2010, I think it was.
After how many years in agency? Roughly?
kind of started in 93 and ended up in 2007. You do the maths.
Oh, okay, blimey. Okay, yeah, that's 20.
Yeah, so long enough. But then I didn't leave a estate agency entirely because I worked as a property consultant for a big asset management business where we touch about 2% of the sales market. So that's dealing with probate sales and part exchange assisted
So
sales.
14 years as an estate agent. That qualifies you to because I've asked you to join me on this live stream to challenge me from the point of view of estate agents. Now,
try and calm you down and keep you on task a little bit. Yeah.
Ludlow Thompson were actually a client of mine in the early 2000s.
Oh, really? Okay.
We did photography and floor plans for them. Guys, so those of you who've joined, I'm going to welcome your challenges and your questions. If you could just hear me out first, hi Anthony, let me get through my pitch, if you like. This is a pitch. I'm pitching Best Agent here, right? I'm pitching Best Agent as the only thing that exists that is designed to enable a better future for the entire industry, based on honest professional service and based on getting rid of time-wasting movers, or at least being able to identify the time wasters and give them separate treatment, right? Because this is now, okay, so that's your background. So 14 years or so in a estate agency. Did you say 2007 or 2010?
2007, but I was stayed as a property consultant for asset management, dealing with the sales of properties for quite some time. Yeah.
So now I would like to state for the record, and especially for estate agents who don't know this and don't know me, my background in the industry. On property, I was buying and selling property as a sort of one at a time developer back in the 90s. I got in dumb luck. I got in at the right time. And it felt like falling off a log. It was so easy to make money on that. But I got into my first estate agency client was a countrywide brand in London called Farron Sataria. It was 7 branches they had. And I founded a company called Datography that was the first company we invented, the one-stop photography, floor plan, and virtual tour service. And then we also added on brochure production. So what we did was we turned the delivery of photography and floor plans from a 2-week process into a 2-day process. That's what we did in the early 2000s. And Farron Sataria, my first client, and we went on to have hundreds of clients in London and in Sydney, Australia. And on the back of that provision of photography and floor plan, we got into providing websites, because the websites at the time weren't actually able to display floor plans and multiple photographs. This is in the days when agents were, I shit you not, faxing photographs to their website company, who were then scanning the fax up to the website. That actually happened. The rest of the world, the rest of the industry, the rest of other industries were able to get into photographs onto their websites. Not estate agents. No. Because estate agents do not like technology.
Well, they do now.
No. We're going to use a fax machine. Anyway, so I had literally hundreds of estate agency clients mostly around London, the Southeast, and the UK. Then we got into CRM provision. And this is where it becomes relevant, because when I got into this, I designed and conceived the first ever fully web-based estate agency CRM system that was a database of properties, uploaded it to the portals, was a database of applicants, matched them automatically. And by the way, back then, most agents thought that automatically meant they had to click a button. No, automatically means you don't have to do anything and it'll match them. One of my earliest clients of that system was Dexter's, when they had just 5 offices, not the 150 that they have now. And that was the first system. Then there was a second system before Best Agent Back Office, the third system that I've designed and built. And so I had estate agents around the country, from Scotland, Liverpool, Manchester, West Country, East Anglia, Essex, lots in London, but all over the country. I had the country's most expensive estate agent in terms of property value. Average fee for this agent, 60 grand. It was his average fee, right? And I had agents in cities where their average fee was less than £1,000. So I have frontline, because I used to spend time with these businesses, right? I used to spend time helping these guys improve their businesses at the front line. By being a client of mine on the software, they almost got me free on consultancy, but I also got paid quite handsomely as a consultant to estate agents as well. And where I did, I was massively improving their performance. So I'm not just a tech provider. I have actually worked inside estate agencies, helping improve them, grow them, turn them around, improve their margins, their functions. And so a lot of people don't understand that I really, at a deep level, understand the financial dynamics of the estate agency industry and businesses as a whole, whether you are sales or lettings, whether you are high end or low end. I get it. And I keep putting the challenge out there just to nail my colours to the mast, because I think we should all be proud of any particular strengths we have. I don't believe there's anyone else out there, not a single other person, who's never been an estate agent, who knows estate agency and how it works better than I do. And I remain open to meet that. I welcome a challenge. Anyone who's never been an agent, who thinks they know it better than me, come and tell me. So that's my background. Now, a couple of the stories. I used to spend lots of time in the offices of a Home. Those of you on this call will not remember, but they were the predecessor of Zoopla, right? When Chesterman bought Zoopla, it was called a Home, and he rebranded it. Property Finder, find a property. I had Ed Williams, the managing director of Rightmove, and two of his directors in my offices in London, looking at that first software system, because they were thinking about putting it together. And this is what's relevant, I had a vision back then that there was an obvious way to deploy technology in the home moving industry in such a way that it was a win-win-win for everybody. And that was in my 20s, and I was totally unaware of the sheer stupidity and stubbornness of vested interests who are like, well, yes, but no. We want to own it. We want to control it. We want this. We want that. And of course, none of it worked. And the graveyard is littered with CRM companies. I mean, what were they called? PSG, Vibra, they used to be called. What a clusterfuck of CRM systems. And I was at all of these early tech events, and it was so frustrating for me because I could see what the clear solution was and the way forward was. And it just kept on being hijacked by investors and corporate interests and corporations again and again and again. So not only have I spent time at the front line of sales, lettings, and property management businesses, I've spent time in board meetings of portals and tech companies and large estate agencies. I knew about the advent of on the market before it was public. I had clients who were founding members of On the Market. And I remember saying to them, you have an amazing opportunity here to actually take away the cartel hold of Zoopla and Rightmove and actually get a better deal for agents. Do not fuck this up, because you have got so many agents rooting for you to succeed. And then they came out with that godforsaken, stupid one other portal rule. They may as well have just set fire to their money on day one. And I remember beating my head against the wall. I sat down with Ian Springett, the chief executive, and said to him, it's not too late. You haven't killed it yet. Please, this is what you need to do, because all agents will join your portal if you remove that stupid fucking rule, because they all want better than Zoopla and Rightmove. Basically, one of my clients who was a founder member of On the Market arranged this meeting. And I sat down and I gave him the best agent strategy on a plate. And I said, this is how you do it. Please do it so I don't have to, because it's a big job. And he said to me at the end of it, he said, I can't fault the strategy. He said, but the board won't go for it. And I said, well, I just want you to know that I've tried, because this is what agents need. Good agents need it. The rest is history, right? On the Market is now just trying to survive as a whatever it can sell to its agents to keep itself going business. It's no longer a contender. And worst of all, and this really was a colossal clusterfuck by On the Market. They came out there to try and weaken Rightmove. And do you remember what happened?
No, go on.
So when they enforced this one other portal rule, you may only be on one of the portals, so you must come off one of the portals. Up until that point, Zoopla had been the only credible challenger to Rightmove. And what did On the Market do? It kneecapped Zoopla.
Mm-hmm.
Zoopla lost something like 25% of their subscribing agents because of On the Market's galactic stupidity with their one other portal rule. I just, and for me, that On the Market clusterfuck was the absolute shining turd of an example of why estate agents themselves, no matter how good they may be at a estate agency, do not understand or know how to run a tech business.
Yeah, but is that a good thing, right? And I've got to say this. When I left estate agency, I didn't realise what other agents were like. One of our brands was not all estate agents are the same. It was something we thought was clever. I didn't realise how much it meant until it actually left, and I was trying to manage other agents to try and sell portfolios of properties. There seems to have been a knowledge gap at the moment, all right, and that's been born out of the adoption of certain technologies. It's been born out of the belief that if I win an instruction, I put it on a portal, the phone will ring, all right, and the phone will ring and it will be the buyer, and all I need to do is take them to the property because they'll tell me they want to go and view it, and I'll show them it, and they'll want to buy it. And that seems to be the belief. You had an agent on, an independent agent, which I thought should, there should be better than this. And you were talking about what buyers they had, and he said, we've got the same buyers as everybody else because I'm going to put the property on the portal and the phones will ring. And I went, Jesus Christ, really? Right? And it's great that technology is there to help agents organize themselves, but when the technology takes over and you completely forget that understanding a buyer's needs, retaining a buyer's needs, and understanding that when you go and view a property, you're thinking of those buyers that you've got in your register, and you're going, oh, this suits the Harrises or this suits the Joneses, and you charge back to the office and say, I've got a property for the Joneses, for God's sake, get them on the phone and tell them about it. That seems to have disappeared.
Yeah.
It seems to be all about, let's bring some tech, let's wow someone with a fake knowledge that I've got. Let's
Absolutely.
leave them with a shiny report. I'll just win the instruction because it's about winning an instruction. And then guess what? The property will sell itself with no skill whatsoever. And I still see people's titles on LinkedIn now. I'm a listings manager. What does that really mean?
Yeah.
That means I care about my little bubble. The policies I've got are go and win the instruction. With some agents at all costs, no matter what, whether it's the wrong price, the wrong fee, or whatever, just win the instruction because that's what you're motivated to do. To hell with the carnage left in the office when you bring that instruction through the door and your negs turn around and go, I don't have any buyers for that. There isn't a market for that. We're not running a whiteboard of hot buyers. There's a complete disconnect between the people winning the instructions and the people trying to sell property, or putting on or having a knowledge of where their buyers are. And that's the bit that seems to be missing. And I think technology, to a point, kind of got in the way of proper estate agency practices and understanding. To the point now where if someone rings up, I mean, I've run it myself, ring up an estate agent, make an inquiry about a property, I'll get someone to call you. Do they? Do they?
No, well, listen,
if someone could bring out some technology that would actually make the phone call for them,
because you've hit the nail on the head about the fact that there are two kinds of estate agency out there: the people who understand what personal service means, and everybody else. Right? The people who understand that it is a bespoke service for each individual client, and the ones who just put it all into their technology and forget about it. And so, right. So, some of you won't remember this, right? But Property Mark, in its previous incarnation as the NAEA, decided in the early 2000s that it was going to build a property portal. And I thought to myself, okay, well, they are the largest estate agency organization in the country. They've got funds. They've got supportive agents. I remember sitting down with their tech guys, actually guiding them because they wanted to have a data feed from the CRM I had at the time, and thinking to myself, they have no clue what they're doing. They may understand estate agency and training. They don't understand. So for the same reason that taxi drivers would never have built Uber, estate agents are never the right people to build the technology because it's a different business, right? A national property site that enables movers and agents to find each other and transact more easily is not the same business. And you may be an excellent estate agent and know your business inside and out and give great service to your customers, but that doesn't make you qualified to run a tech business. So let me just tell you the 6 main reasons that have led to what I see as a crumbling, collapsing industry right now. And let me qualify that, right? How is it possible that the largest estate agency in the country goes bust at the most profitable time in the property market in living memory? How is that possible? How spectacularly badly must they have been running that business for that to happen? Now, anyone who knows Countrywide knows that they were not good at getting good fees in their mass market brands, and they were relying very heavily on referral income. And what I know from personal experience, when I went to see Countrywide, because I had a couple of Countrywide brands using my CRM and they were doing very well, they were outperforming other Countrywide brands, and I got sent to the head office guys, and I will never forget walking out of Countrywide's IT department, having spoken to them and demonstrated them what we had, and thinking to myself, it's only a matter of time until that business is dead, because the culture of the people who are in charge of the technology is backwards looking. They do not want to change. Their jobs depend upon having an old, out of date infrastructure, and they're dead. They're literally dead in the water. And a few years later, I had another friend of mine who was consulting to Countrywide at board level, who came to me and said, they are fucked, totally fucked. That was his exact words. Those were his exact words 3 years before they actually finally went bust. So when you've got the country's largest estate agency being run that badly, by the way, none of their offices spoke to each other. Their IT systems were all physically installed servers in different branches. Can you fucking believe it? I mean, talk about stupidly large overheads and no one in the management having a clue about what to do about it. And that they went bust. Like, it's an astonishing accomplishment, in fact. Anyway, we've now got Connells who've bought Countrywide at possibly the worst possible time they could have bought Countrywide. And Connells is not a popular brand with the public. I can vouch for that based on all the feedback I've had from my significant and substantial great following. Connells, as everyone knows, heavily relies on referral income commission because its fees are so low for estate agency fees, because it has no personal service. It is sign on the dotted line, overvalue, and hope that you drop the price enough for us to sell. I mean, they really are a sausage machine. Okay, and so in this current market, they are going to be facing a very tough time. I don't know how strong the lettings business is. It might be enough to get them through, but that's a problem, right? So, but my point here is, I talk about Countrywide, talk about Connells. I've mentioned Property Mark. The overwhelming observation I have looking back has been the total absence of any functioning leadership for this industry. Like, none. And there were people. I thought, what was that former president of the NAEA or the chief executive, that chap with the glasses and the double barrel name. I can't remember his name now. He was good. He was actually good, and he left. And I got to talk to him privately. And basically, the NAEA and Property Mark is controlled by its corporate members, who are in the minority, and the majority of paying members are small agents who get zero influence over what happens. And if you want any proof about that, Purple Bricks was a member of the NAEA. And lots of small agents complained about them and went, hang on a second, they're breaking the rules. And as we know, they broke the rules now. They got held up for it eventually by other people. What did NAEA Property Mark ever do about it? Nothing. That is disgusting. Property Mark is a great training organization as far as the rules and regs of the stations are concerned. And I actively encourage agents to go and do those exams. There's nothing bad about that. But otherwise, they are so spectacularly out of date. They are utterly dysfunctional as a leadership organization, as an organization that represents estate agents. They are a joke, in my opinion. This is not against the people who work there. I know there are some great people who work in Property Mark, but unfortunately, the policies, the control, the board, everything else is no. We want to keep it just as it is. I mean, their attempts at consumer branding are what's more remarkable than how bad their branding attempts are is that they don't know that they think what they're doing is actually good. Anyway, right. So lack of leadership is one reason why this industry is in the mess that it's in. There's no clear leadership of the industry.
Do you think that's
Secondly,
fear, though, Charlie? Do you think? I think the problem is that again, I've been having lots of conversations in the legal sector, and a lot of people saying that change has got to come from within. There's a lot of talk about progress and the way forward, and customer centric, and delivering great service, and what does that actually mean? What does that look like? But people have actually got to decide that that's what they're going to deliver. And it's the same with the state agency. And someone actually said to us, it must be last year, they said, oh, the whole estate agency sector is broken, but that's how we like it.
Someone said that.
Yeah. It's broken.
It doesn't surprise me.
That's how we like it. And I'm
And
like,
they are
okay.
speaking the truth because that's true. These messed up strategies and policies actually serve, or did serve, but won't anymore, the corporates. And I'll come on to that in a minute. But first of all, there has been no effective leadership. And the kind of people that are actually touted on other people's videos as industry legends, etc., are embarrassing old farts.
There's a lot of those.
I mean, they're nice people.
Yeah.
They're nice people. But the fact that they think that those are industry legends, that those guys know what they're talking about, is shocking and embarrassing. Right. I'm going to give you one other example. I know of a high-tech data company, and it's okay because now it's all changed. I can say this, who went in to help Countrywide a few years ago. And the guy came out, the chief executive came out, and he said to me, he said, if I hadn't seen the management culture and the technology there, I would not have believed it possible. I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed a company like that. The management would have allowed it to run that way. Anyway, so lack of leadership. Why? Because the industry, this Friday, the industry is going to go and pat itself on the back at the ESDAS Awards about how great it is. Now, I love the ESDAS Awards. It's a fun event, and I do think it's good to celebrate the people who've genuinely done well. It is voted for by the public, but what is concealed by these industry events is how low the overall bar is. So I do not take away anything from the people who win ESDAS Awards, right? They deserve them. They're good. It's a fun party. It's a great event. I think, sadly, the Negotiator Awards are almost a parody of what 90s kind of bigotry looks like. It's just it's a weird. It's just a weird thing. Nice people, nice to see people when you go there, etc. But actually, as an event, I remember the last time I went, I sat next to a couple of people I didn't know. They were agents in their 30s, and they were just looking at me going, Is this some kind of joke? It's like, this is really weird. It's like some kind of dark ages. Anyway, it's like, right, leadership. Lack of leadership in the industry is one of the reasons we're here. Number two, the portals, and I won't spend too long on this, the portals have exacerbated all the things that are bad about the industry. The portals have allowed those with the deepest pockets to get the cheapest leads. The portals have allowed those with the deepest pockets to buy prime positions. And what's happened there is that the genuinely good agents who actually arguably place their customers' interests higher than their own, like they go above and beyond and don't charge enough of a fee, and therefore they can't afford to have these prime positions, and they don't get the discount to the big guys anyway. Neither Rightmove nor Zoopla, nor on the market, has done anything to help the public identify better agents. They've just sent the leads, tick all the boxes that you want, send your contact details to all those agents. There's been absolutely no initiative by any of them to help reward better quality estate agency. They do not give a fuck about anything other than justifying their subscriptions. Now, this is at a policy level. All of these companies have good people working in them who do want to make a difference. I've had meetings with all these companies, and there are people there, but the people themselves have no power over the policy set by the board. Zoopla's owned by an American private equity firm. Rightmove is also controlled by American hedge funds. Right, more than 25% of Rightmove is owned by American hedge funds. On the market, it's just kind of become irrelevant. It's just worried about its own survival more than anything else. And so, who is out there for the consumer to deliver the consumer an easier way to find the good and honest agents out there?
Yeah, but when it comes to buying property, Charlie, you've got to face your facts, right? Rightmove and any portal is a marketing campaign. It's an advertising slot. That's it. You put the property on the portal, and people that are looking for property will find it, right? They know their place in the market. They can cream their place in the market by just being that. It's like you saying, "Oh, I'm running a really successful estate agent, a really successful marketing agency," and then you having a go at them and saying, "But why are you not being Trustpilot as well?" Why should they be both things? They are there to fulfill a purpose, which is enable agents to magnify the fact they've got stock on the market, and that's their place. Anything beyond that, surely it's got to be down to the agent. I know I could find a good agent. I can go on to Rightmove. I can look for a
That's
property
because
that
you
I
know
want
what
to
you're looking
find.
for.
I can make the inquiry, and the agent that calls me back and gives me 2 seconds of the day and actually speaks to me like a human being is probably the agent I want to engage with. The one that never comes back to me, or the one that treats me like a time-wasting individual who's just, "Oh, you've just come via Rightmove, you must be a piece of shit," is someone that I don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And so it's quite easy to work out which one it is. So to be fair, we can all have a go at Rightmove because they are a very, very rich organization taking an awful lot of money and sitting back and just going, look at this, because they have the brand, they've invested significantly in it, but they do their job. Beyond that, is that really their remit? We made a decision many, many years ago that if we were going to recognize that we were a good agent and we wanted to go and find our place in the market, we had to spend money on our own SEO. We had to go and spend money investing on our own website, our own client engagement, so that people couldn't avoid finding us. Yes, they'd go to Rightmove first, but we were everywhere else. So, those agents that purely rely on the portals for everything, it's a flawed model. You can't do it.
No, I know, but sorry.
Rightmove aren't there to support agents.
My point
Rightmove is
is,
there to take the money.
Rightmove is a consumer brand. Rightmove is supposed to help the consumer. That's its proposition, right?
Find property. Yep. Right.
So and find agents.
No. Find property. It's always been to find property.
Okay.
The agent's
whether
got
it's
a tag on it.
intentional or not. Okay, and whether it's there. But the point is, you could argue that because of their reach, because of their wealth,
they could do more.
They have the potential to improve things for the consumer.
They do, but then where would Best Agent be? If Rightmove did that properly, where would Best Agent be? So please, let's not get Rightmove stepping into your puddle.
They're never going to. There's no danger of that. There's no danger, because what I want agents watching this to understand is they've got to understand that all the things that agents know and don't like about Rightmove, but there are other things about them as well. Rightmove's sheer existence is the single largest barrier for good agents to get recognized. I'm going to say that again. Rightmove's existence is the single biggest hurdle and barrier to good agents being noticed by the public. And Daniel, I'm sorry, this is true because I hear this from both sides. I hear movers coming to me and saying, we don't know. We've rung lots of agents. We've rung 5 agents and they're all as shit as each other. So the point is, if the public doesn't know how to identify the better agents to call in the first place, and they're doing it using going to Google and asking the neighbors and looking at the boards around them, you always end up with the ones who have the marketing spend.
Yeah. Hold on a minute, though. Stop. Get in your box just for a second. Right. Rightmove is to attract buyers. Always has been, always will be. Right?
No.
Yes, of course it is.
No.
Rightmove's to attract buyers.
Sorry, absolutely not. The agents that I spoke to say, we are only on Rightmove to get instructions. We don't need Rightmove to sell property. We can sell property with our applicant box. We actually, these are, by the way, these are good agents, right?
Okay. In which case I would say this. Okay. Have they got an office? Some of them have. EXP, you've got your own brand, you're building on that, and you're out putting your face in your community, and you're making your brand, and you're making yourself known. Shut up, Charlie, a minute. Stop. The agents, the good agents, are the ones that are building a brand recognition. They don't feckin' need Rightmove for that. If they're not interested, I'm in Oundle. I'm not interested in buying a property in Edinburgh. I'm not interested in sort of selling property in Edinburgh. I'm not interested in selling property in Brighton. I'm interested in selling property within 15-mile radius at most of what I've got here. That's local recognition, that's local papers, that's local leafleting, that's local door knocking, that's local board presence, that's local networking. That's not fucking Rightmove. I'm sorry. If
Are
I'm
you
wanting to
saying,
win and win instructions, I'm not getting it from Rightmove. I'm getting it from being good, recognized brand regionally.
Daniel,
All right.
if you were right, then people like Anthony and David watching this now would not have the shit fight. Both of those guys, I know, do exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get called as much as the big corporates get called? No. Why not? Because people go to Rightmove first, and then they go to Google first. So if you were right,
okay. Stop then. Okay, I'll tell you something else then. Right. What was I talking about 3 years ago?
Can't remember.
Tell you what I was talking about 3 years ago. I said the best time to plant a tree, right, was 30 years ago. And everyone's now panicking that it's getting fucking hot and there's no shade, right? But you should have planted the tree 30 years ago. What was I talking about 3 years ago? I was talking about logbooks. Not because they were a vehicle to help people move more efficiently, but because we'd built a digital logbook for estate agents to give to everyone in their local marketplace, a free logbook, not because of what it could be, but of course, for what it delivered. What does it deliver? It delivers updates as to how their property is performing in this marketplace. Every single month it updates them, right? Yes, they can store their documents in there. Yes, they can put their photographs in there. Yes, things like that. But from an agent's point of view, they can just say, look, if you're a homeowner, come and get one of my branded estate agent logbooks and just keep an interest in the marketplace. Don't need to go to Rightmove to find the comparables. I'll deliver those to you through your logbook. Nurturing. Constant contact with every homeowner in your region. Now, any fucking stupid, short-sighted agent spending thousands of pounds on Rightmove, thinking that they're going to go and win instructions from spending thousands of pounds on Rightmove, need to just fucking shoot themselves now. Waste of money and time. If you can't deliver something regionally for your own business, which I know you can do because I fucking brought a product to market 3 years ago that a very few agents are actually using to best effect. Because lots of agents went, that's a fucking good idea, but where's my return on investment now? And I'm going, stop being goal-hanging cunts, and I'll say it, because you are, right? This is a long-term nurturing game, right? The fact you might have to spend £150 this month and you go, where's my fucking instruction? Yes, I've got 1,000 logbooks claimed. Only 10 of them have said they're thinking of selling. But where's my instruction? Well, fucking hell. Plant a tree 30 years ago, right? Start delivering these logbooks now. In 4 years' time, mate, you are the brand of choice. You are the place to go to. You have a relationship with thousands of people, thousands of homeowners in your area, because you're delivering technology that's delivering stuff that fascinates them, the value of their own property, month in, month out. Don't fucking need Rightmove for that. Don't start me with Rightmove, and Rightmove's going to win instruction.
Okay, right.
Oh, sorry, get off my soapbox.
No, I'm glad you got the soapbox. But you are right, and Rightmove is still the biggest reason good agents don't get business that they should get.
Oh, that's
No, hang on. Daniel, sorry. I am an unbiased observer of this particular phenomenon. Okay. I want good agents to be phoned up by sellers who don't know where to go first. I'm talking about agents, I'm talking about sellers who I don't know who I'm going to go. Because at the moment, I can tell you that 80% of sellers ring 20% of agents. The 20% of the largest market share agents get 80% of the fucking inquiries. That is hard fact data. Okay. Now, why do those 80% of people call just 20% of the agents?
Because it's a numbers game, and they've got more stock because they can afford to just get stock on and service it and chuck it on Rightmove. And then because it's a numbers game, chances are they're the one they're going to ring, right?
First-time sellers couldn't give a stuff about property logbooks.
Right. So, but how much effort? I keep coming back to this.
No. You had your say. Zip it. My turn. First-time sellers haven't even ever fucking thought about selling their house until they come to the first time, at which point they haven't got a clue what they're going to do. If they had a good experience buying, they might go and ring that agent if they, and that's where it makes sense to look after people. But The problem is that every single day there are new people, one born every minute, who goes, oh, I'll just go to Rightmove for everything. And I have agents talking to me all the time about this, people who've been doing it for 20 or 30 years, and they've done everything that you describe. And they say, I know people who are selling their estate agencies because they're saying, no matter how good my track record, my marketing, my nurturing, and everything else, these sellers are not calling me. I've done everything in the book that you've just said. Okay, can I just have a yes or no from Anthony and David who are watching? Like, am I right that... Go on, Anthony, you go.
Sorry, excuse me, coming in and out between calls.
No, fine.
In my experience, my gravest error was casting my net too wide and trying to be just too perfect, too professional, and just thinking that that would work, and it didn't. What has begun to work, and I completely agree with everything you're saying, but what has begun to work for me is relentless social media presence, videos, making it clear that I'm in Northampton, and despite the fact that we grew further afield and it became something we couldn't manage, by focusing locally, always mentioning I'm in Northampton, etc. I'm now getting a trickle of people. I would like it to be more, of course, where they phone and they say, Anthony, I would like you to sell my house.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone else. They haven't asked me what I'm going to charge. They haven't asked anything. They've decided they want me to sell their house. I haven't got it perfect yet because there just doesn't seem to be a rule book. I just don't know what the perfect way.
But yes or no, Anthony, do you get all the calls you think you deserve?
No.
Right.
No.
David, do you get the calls you think you deserve?
Oh, of course not. Not in the
Right.
slightest.
Do you think there are agents in your patch getting calls they don't deserve?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, completely.
Rightmove is the reason for that above all other reasons. There are other reasons too, but Rightmove's existence is the number one reason for that. Rightmove does a better deal for its corporate clients than anyone else. They get a horrifically unfair advantage in the largest marketplace.
Yes.
And now, I'm not saying Rightmove shouldn't exist, and I'm not saying Rightmove doesn't have a long-term future. Rightmove should be an optional marketing channel for people who want to use it in its own right. What it should not be is the disproportionate cartel-like monopoly which results in the consumer making a terrible choice and having a terrible experience.
Yes.
Now, I don't blame Rightmove for that. They're a successful business. They don't care. That's their prerogative. It's not their job to solve the movers' problems. I get that too, right? So I don't have anything against Rightmove. It is tightening the screws and it's cranking up the price and it's exploiting its market position, which it has fairly and squarely earned. But what I am saying is that is against the interests of most moving consumers. And as a result, people who need to move and fail to move because they signed up with a shit agent because of Rightmove are having their life chances affected because of Rightmove's existence.
I would go and say to that, right, no one just has one market appraisal. Just hold on a minute.
They have three. They pick three at random, and they always pick. Of course it's not one. But Daniel, 80% of agents are varying degrees of terrible. Only 20% of agents are actually any good.
Yeah, you're right. But 100% of agents, most of the time, do exactly the same thing because they've got the same trick book up their sleeves.
A lot of them are going to die out now.
But a lot of them will. But there are differentiators. There are different things you can do. There are different songs.
I know, but that's not the purpose of this call. That's not the purpose of this video, right? I want to go through the things that I have seen destroy the industry for good agents and therefore for movers who need good agents. Lack of leadership, the portal's existence and their choice to do nothing to help but good agents. Number 3, as you were alluding to earlier, CRM systems, right? The advent of CRM systems with automatic matching and mailing and stuff like that has been abused by agents, and it's made them very lazy. And this is where the CRM systems I designed were specifically designed differently to turbocharge the personal service and allow good agents to spend as much time as they want talking to the right applicants and their clients without neglecting everyone else in their applicant box. So the system I designed did that to perfection. And no matter how many applicants an individual negotiator had, every single one felt like they were getting personal service, even though 80% of them were getting automated stuff. But it was still personalized when it was automated. But that's beside the point, right? CRM systems, on the whole, have been shit and have achieved nothing and have improved nothing in the process because the evidence is there. It takes even longer now to move house than it ever has. Like pretty much, it's a joke. And why has that happened? I can tell you why. As the designer, builder, and owner of 3 CRM systems, I've had former staff from Zoopla, who were at PSG before that, and I've employed salespeople from Zoopla and from Rightmove and from other CRM companies. And I remember being told by them when they moved that the strategy inside Zoopla was, we know our products aren't very good, so our competitive strategy is to just destroy the people who are good. And they told me, they said, Charlie, we were told in our sales meetings to target your clients because your product was too good and we couldn't make one good enough. So in other words, they knew their products were shit and didn't care. So that's that. That's the end of CRM systems, right? I'm now going to go on to suppliers, and I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to talk about non-lead gen suppliers, but other suppliers of various services, okay? But not just marketing suppliers. Too many suppliers have pitched their services saying, this will help you win business off other agents. This is a competitive advantage to you and your business. And one of the problems that's done is that it's allowed shit agents to look really good. Right? It's a lot. There have been supplier products out there that have been actually very good products, but again, the vendors of those products, the sellers of those supplier products to estate agents, have sold them to anyone who wants them. And what it's had the effect of doing is making it even harder for genuinely good agents who are so good, their reputation for great service is all they need. They are coming up against yet more and yet more and yet more other agents looking good because they've got good supplier products, but are not actually delivering on the service. And honestly, I've got multiple individual cases of agents going, I've got the reputation. I've been the best around here for decades, but it's nevertheless becoming harder and harder and harder and harder to be up against these other agents because of all the various gizmos and gadgets and glittery products they've got to make themselves look good. And they're just selling up, and they're selling their beautiful owner-managed estate agencies to corporates like fucking Dexter's. And it's a nightmare. So that's number 4. Leadership, lack of leadership, portals, CRM systems, suppliers, now lead gen products. And I could talk about this for an hour, but I'll get it to 1 minute, which is this. Lead gen products, the cake is that big. The number of people moving house is that size. And the number of people moving house doesn't change except for its own reasons. The economy, the weather, terrorist attacks. These are the things that affect people moving house, not moving house, right? And all the lead gen products do is inside that circle, that pie that doesn't get any bigger or smaller, it is what it is. It just helps agents fight over business and like pick it off each other. And so agents everywhere, I mean, I bet both of you guys pay for lead gen products of some kind or another. And all it's doing, and you have to do it, because if you don't, you get no business. It's just making loads of money for the lead gen providers without overall adding any value to the industry. Because if all lead gen providers and Rightmove and Zoopla disappeared tomorrow and didn't exist, you would all get the same amount of business. Lead gen providers do not bring any extra value to the industry as a whole, right? And so that's why, and someone's probably going to say, well, hang on, isn't Best Agent a lead gen provider? No, it's not. I'll answer that later. So, and then the last thing on this list is the practice of overvaluing that has become, unfortunately, a sort of cancerous drug addiction for the industry as a whole, where so many agents overvalue that even the really good agents are left with no choice but to kind of reluctantly agree to put it on at a price that they don't want to because they know it's too high. It's become such an effective tool at winning business because first-time sellers are so naive, especially first-time sellers. But that overvaluing strategy is coming home to roost and is killing off all of the agents who've relied on it the most because they are the ones listing loads of stuff that they're not going to sell, they're not going to make the fees, and they're going to go bust.
Let them have it. Let them go bust.
And to wrap this up, I would summarize the problems with the industry are these two things. Terrible technology as an industry, terrible technology, and bad corporate policies. So I'm not criticizing the people in the industry. It is bad policy and bad tech, which has got us to where we've got to. But it's all going to be over soon, I think. So I'm going to take a minute and have a sip of tea.
I think it's where the most. Sorry, again, the agents that engage with us for a number of things are more and more the independent or the individual. And the reason for that is because they're not tethered by corporate strategy. They have some degree of understanding as to what good estate agency practices look like. And they believe, certainly the conversation we're having with them, is that they've got to step out of their comfort zones to deliver more than they ever have. And I'll explain what that means in a moment, because they have to differentiate themselves from the norm, right? Now, back in the day, estate agents would draw a line in terms of what they believe they were good at, and at what point they would say everything beyond this is someone else's problem. And the reason for that was they didn't want to have brand damage. The bit the estate agent wanted to deal with was the winning the instruction, the marketing, the accompanied viewings, the fun bit, the making friends with the client. Isn't this great? This is fantastic. Getting some good feedback, having one-to-one meetings. This is what we're doing in the marketing, and of ultimately finding a sale. And then going, memorandum of sale out. Anything that happens beyond this point now is not our problem, right? Right? This is a conveyancer's problem. If anything goes wrong, we can blame them. And over the last few years, and it was heightened particularly during the lockdown and COVID, was the blame game. Yeah. There was no understanding as to what was going on either side of the fence, and no one wanted to know what was going on either side of the fence. However, because we're beyond that now, because we're at a point where agents are starting to go, Christ, unless I actually do something different, I'm dead. What can I do different? Hang on a minute. We understand there's this talk of upfront data. There's this talk of actually preparing people for sale better. Some agents are actually stepping out of their comfort zone and going, what does that actually mean? How can I actually implement that? Because believe me, those agents, some of the big agents are going, well, when it's mandated by government, I'll do it. And the really good agents are saying, no. I can see the benefits of doing this. I can see the benefits of stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm going to just do this because it's the right thing to do. It's a great differentiator and my clients are going to love it. And the other thing is, I remember back in the days, corporate estate agency, the seller's paying your fees, Dan. Look after them. Treat the buyer like shit. Sorry, it's still not got a curfew yet. Treat the buyer badly. Beat them with a big stick. Completely forgetting that the buyer is buying a property in your territory. They are your next seller. So you've got to hug your buyers and you've got to deliver fantastic service to them so that when they're thinking of selling, they come back to you. Because what was the stat that came out last year? It was 1 in 8, 1 in 9 would go back to the person they bought from. That's horrific. If that's Trustpilot, then gee whiz, there's a lot of work to do. So look after those buyers, treat them like gold dust because they are your future sellers, provide fantastic beyond comfort zone service for your sellers. And by that, I mean, it's not as easy as putting a board up and getting a buyer and hoping for the best.
Daniel, can I stop? Because I want to stick to the topic here because I know you've got a huge amount of good experience to share with agents and I want to share that.
They're the conversation we're having now. Yeah, and that's those.
But the conversation I have now. So I think that all of those things have led to where we are now, and it's a terrible experience overall for movers. The public has it's actually a worse impression of agents than I even realized. I now know through the Moving Home with Charlie audience. It's just terrible. And this market is going to wipe out. I mean, I think we'll see some big estate agents have real problems in the coming year or two. Really big estate agents having real problems. And, I mean, Fox is going to be okay. They've got a huge lettings department, and that's going to keep them going, whatever sales does. They're quite wise like that. They know that there are lean times and good times that they're going to have to rely on lettings. But a lot of other very mediocre agents are going to give up and just go because there aren't enough transactions. The fees are too low, and the party is is over. And I think it still amazes me the blind optimism of so many estate agents about how the market's going to be in the coming years. I think it's going to be a disastrously bad market for at least another year. I think it's going to continue to get worse than it is now. The good agents who know how to get instructions at the right price to sell them will be fine and will come out the other side. But overall, the market as a whole is going to be shocking. No one understands how bad unemployment's going to get, that wages are going to be falling again, interest rates are not going to come down anytime soon, and there's no prospect of growth for this country anytime soon.
It's a fine line to walk, though, Charlie. And you're right, and I do understand where you're coming from, and your grounding of your reasoning for saying that is because you don't want people to get into trouble. You don't want people to outstretch themselves. You understand what the market's doing. You don't want people to, overstretch.
I don't want sellers to delay. I don't
want
over
leverage. But equally, you don't want people selling for any less than they should otherwise if they got the price right. There's so many things that you're coming from, but it's a fine line. I get why agents do it. No one's really going to instruct an agent that's doom and gloom, right? So they have to retain a certain amount of positivity. If everyone was ultra realistic about what was going on, it would be a really different market.
I don't think it's the case. I'm sorry. I think what I would want in a difficult market is a professional agent. And a professional agent is one who calls it like it is.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah. With substance, this is what's going on, but in a positive way, because stuff still happens.
What you don't say is, oh, it's going to be fine. You say the way to get through this in this difficult market is this. These are the positive steps we're going to take to get you sold. And that's the positivity. Positivity in your belief in your ability to deliver the client what they want. But pretending that the economy is going to be okay, oh, don't worry about the mainstream media headlines, just makes you sound like you don't know what you're doing, you've got your head in the sand. But that's beside the point. I am here to help people move. And there is already a very large and growing number of people who wanted to move and haven't because they overpriced last year, right? And now they're wishing that they'd sold last year at a lower price. I mean, I bet Anthony and David, I don't know if you've seen that, but there are sellers out there wishing they'd sold and they now think it's too late.
Well, if agents don't use the graph, and I can happily draw it and share it, and that is, when I was managing massive portfolio assets for developers in 2008, it was a crash. It was a fast dropping market. We couldn't argue with it. They had to offload. They had too much skin in the game. This lot's got to get sold. How do we do it? And the reality and the conversations we had with some of those managing directors, with David Wilson or Morris Holmes or whatever, was if we cut this deep now in a falling market, if we cut this deep now and we get it sold, by the time we transact, it'll probably just about represent fair market value, right? And then we'll get out. Brilliant. If we don't do that and we chip away and chip away and chip away, we will consistently chase a falling market for months and months and months and months, and you will end up with far less than you hoped to achieve. Yeah. So anyone dealing with property assets in a falling market has got to explain that to a client and make it really clear. This is what the graph looks like. This is how long transactions are taking. This is how fast it's falling. If we cut this deep and then add 12, 14, 18, 20 weeks to this graph, look at where we are, because we don't want to get in a position of gazunder, and it's going to happen. We've agreed to sale at what is fair market value today. That's a gazunder waiting to happen. 3-4 months down the line, about to exchange, that buyer's going to go, hold on a minute, it's too much money, I'm pulling out or dropping 20 grand. No one wants to be there. It's a waste of time and money for everybody, and it's heartbreaking. So agents have got to actually spell it out why they are saying it as it is, because anything else is utter
I agree. Right.
If we can come in for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're talking about this market for a bit, I would have to say that your best estate agents out there are enjoying this market more than they were at the market 2 years ago. I personally would love this market to continue for as long as possible, because the shit agents, the cheap agents, the ones that overvalue are in a hell of a state at the moment. And I hope it continues well into next year, even 2025, because I've lost instructions after instructions on fees, which I can't be asked to compete with. Takes the whole fun out of it when they're quoted 0.5 or 0.75. The agent in our town that have got market share are 0.83 plus VAT, so they're 0.99. They've got market share, but they overvalue as well. I would not like to work in that office at the moment, because I bet they're having some very bad times at the moment. And I hope this market continues until those shit agents either wake up and get their bloody fees up, or start valuing responsibly, which nobody is yet. I haven't seen any responsible valuations. I lost one on Friday, which I was scratching my head. Lovely bloke, needs the help, but it wasn't just one other agent overvalued. Two of the other agents both overvalued. So he can't stare at me at being the third agent. He's going to think, no, the other two agents have outruled you. So this market needs to continue for as long as possible. And then the shit agents are either out of the game, or they're going to have to wake up and do something very different to what they've been doing.
You're absolutely right, David.
They don't have any other playbook.
No.
They just literally don't have. They don't know how to go in and pitch anything different. Anyway, so it's great to hear you say that, David. It's fascinating you say that. So what I actually wanted to get to in this video is this part now. I want to explain how, over the coming years, and it will be a gradual process, everything that I've been working on for 20 years, but especially for the last 7 years, will create a different, an alternative path into the future for this industry. Nothing has to be broken. Nothing has to be exploded. It can be a gradual stuff. I'm not out here to put anyone else out of business. I mean, I have functioning technical relationships with Rightmove and Zoopla on the market. Best Agent Back Office, the CRM system, uploads to all of them on for the agents that use it. So, but what I do want to do is I would like to dislodge the monopoly, if that makes sense. I'd like to make it a fairer playing field for agents and for movers, and I'd like to help movers make better moving decisions. And to do that, I've got to solve all those problems that I've listed: leadership, portals, CRM systems, suppliers, lead gen, and overvaluing. And so far, I get the feeling that no one's really taking it very seriously, because, hey, it's just Charlie and Best Agent and his tech and his team. And, he wants to take on the portals and the CRMs and he's got no TV budget. But the thing is, because we have such a disillusioned moving public, there is and I've already tapped into it. There is an appetite for truth and honesty and transparency from movers. And it's enough of an appetite that when I start asking my moving audience, which I haven't yet, when I start asking them to go to bestagent.co.uk to look for their properties and to look for agents there, they will start to do it in very small numbers to begin with, but they will be higher quality leads for a whole list of reasons. Number one, because Best Agent charges per lead, so per viewing lead or per instruction, we are not under pressure of the other portals to justify a big monthly subscription with as many leads as we can. So we make it harder for seller and buyer leads to register, because we don't want time wasters. We want agents to say, well, I don't get that many leads from Best Agent, but the ones I do are top notch. I would like Best Agent to have a reputation as being quality first, both for movers and for agents. So because I know, having managed applicant databases and CRM systems for agents around the country, I know that one of the biggest expenses to an agent is managing the time wasting and the chaff in their applicant database without losing the opportunities that exist within it. And that I can tell you is the art. Daniel, you just said only 1 in 9 buyers goes back to the agent they bought from to sell. Well, that's it. So all the clients using my CRM did much, much better than that. So I also know how much of a pain in the arse it is to go to a valuation for a total tire-kicking time waster of a seller who's got no plans to sell whatsoever, okay? So the seller leads that we're providing, which are cost zero to receive and zero to respond to, and still cost zero even if you get invited out to a valuation, you only pay if instructed. I don't want agents having their time wasted, and I don't want agents getting leads that don't turn into instructions because we won't make anything. So in other words, the charging structure I'm putting in right from the word go, which by the way is transparent and it's on our website, there's a price list for the cost of leads, is the same for all agents, no matter what size. So it's transparent and it's fair, and it's pay per lead, and it's links to the value of the instruction or to the property that they want to view, whether it's lettings or sales. And the whole idea is I would rather have one quality interaction than 10 time wasters. Okay? For me, Best Agent exists to help serious movers who have decided we now want to come to the market. We're not thinking of selling 6 months from now. I'm going to be required to be fucking nurtured at so much expense. We're now ready to talk to agents. Do you remember that line that Boomin used about, it's about engaging them earlier in the process? What the fuck? What vendor wants to be engaged earlier in the process? They don't. Fuck off, leave me alone. I'll come to you when I'm ready. It's like just such a stupid concept that really was. But when a seller is ready, seriously ready to come to the market, we make it easy for them to say, I don't know who I'm going to call. And frankly, I don't want to have to call multiple agents and repeat my fucking life story 3 times or 5 times or 10 times. I would like to announce my intention to sell my home to local agents and for them to come to me personally with an introduction so I can see which ones are actually keenest to sell my home. And interestingly enough, what we're already finding is that corporate listers have no interest in sending video messages, personal video messages. They're very uncomfortable with it. But independents and owner managed and the very good agents in the large corporates are very happy to send a personal video message introducing themselves. Okay? And it's already working in terms of the selection of the 3 agents that a seller ends up choosing to come round is a different selection than otherwise would be the case. And so it already works that the right agents are getting picked. And we've got this early opportunity that agents that have signed up to Best Agent and back office have a head start advantage over the other agents. Okay, so we've got this appetite amongst movers. All right, Anthony, thanks for coming. We've got this appetite amongst movers for better quality agents, but they can't find them. We've got innovations on the moving side, but I want to just share this with you, and then we can start to wrap things up because I know we've been going on for a long time now here. I would like to share this picture with you, okay? Because if nothing else, I want agents to understand that what I have built has, and let me just hide the caption. It is a large enough foundation and platform to actually take on everything that needs to be taken on. So what we've got here at the top, find your agent. It's about helping sellers choose good agents without those agents having to pay money to be found. Okay, every agent listing properties with a back office account in that area will get invited to talk to sellers. Best Agent Partners on the left there, that is where suppliers are going to be allowed to integrate. But we actually released that about 4 years ago and were astonished at how bad the tech was in most suppliers. And we're now going to be very, very careful about what suppliers can be there. They've got to have good tech, and they've got to be products that actually improve a mover experience as well as an agent experience. But when we do, it will allow them to integrate their service seamlessly with agents' offerings. BestAgent.me is about allowing individual personal agents to build a track record and a journey and user reviews that they can take with them even when they change agent. So if they are an employee of a large agency, but they have really good feedback ratings on their viewings and on their phone calls and that kind of stuff, that will stay with them if they decide to go somewhere else. So it becomes a recruitment opportunity where good employers can find the good agents out there without even knowing who they are. They'll be able to see the performance metrics of the best agents in their town. And that way, the good agents who want to be employees will get offered the better jobs. Bestagent.property, down the bottom left-hand side there, is, to all intents and purposes, our property portal. Okay? And the one thing that a portal's got to have over, if it wants to have any chance of the public liking it, is it's got to have all the property, at least as much as Rightmove, if not more. Because until someone delivers that, the consumer doesn't care. The people looking for homes to buy or to rent, they just want to go to the site with the most property. And that is why Rightmove wins. And that's where on the market, Mr. Trick. Okay. But we have got 100% of publicly available homes for sale and to let on Best Agent Property. And we are, so for example, telephone leads, if you've activated your back office account, are free. We won't charge for telephone leads, but only registered movers, verified registered movers, will be able to see your phone number. And it won't be some weird, stupid 0300 number that we provide. It will be your phone number. And if you want your mobile number on there, that's the phone number that they will be given once they've cleared the registration process. Okay, so, and we're going to allow, with the agents controlling it, live video viewings of properties with applicants if you want to do that. So it could be three of you. It could be the applicant, it could be the seller, the vendor living at home, and you, the agent, all three of you on that live video call to have like a provisional viewing if there's a lot of travel involved, for example. So that's really important. Now, over on the right-hand side, Best Agent Video. So we've already got, and it's been working for a while now, live video calling ability. So if you respond to a vendor lead and say, yeah, I'm happy to talk to you, the vendor can click a link that will open up a video call between the two of you straight away. Because video calls are much better at establishing rapport and that sort of look and touch, not touchy-feely, but you know what I mean? If you see someone smile, you see someone's body language, you have a better rapport established quickly. That's already built in. And also the video to allow video viewings. And this, a lot of agents won't like, but good agents won't mind it. It allows both applicants and potential sellers and potential landlords as well to actually interact with you and talk to you without having to reveal their contact information. On any of the other portals, if they want to contact you, they've got to lift their skirt up and give you all their personal information if they want to make contact with you. Best Agent changes that. It will allow movers to retain control of their personal data until such time as they want to share it with you. Right? Whereas at the moment what happens on Rightmove or Zoopla is like tick, 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 and their contact information goes to all the agents. And then they just get spammed to death and it's a nightmare. Mm-hmm. So this improves the situation for movers. Best Agent back office in the center there at the bottom of the page, that is the CRM system. And it has always, for 20 years, it's why I had Rightmove in my offices of the first CRM system I built. It's always made sense, technically, for a national property portal, a consumer-facing property site, and a CRM system for agents using it to be one and the same thing, technically. And that's what we've built. So the back office is a full functioning CRM system that does properties, applicants, PDF, your property details, uploads to all the portals, uploads to a website, matching, you name it, right? And it's got a full GDPR functionality in there, the right to be forgotten, all of that kind of stuff has been built in from the start. And it is one and the same piece of technology as the national property site, which means, and here's one of the things I haven't announced publicly yet. If you've got viewing appointments on your listings that you want to fill, so 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, there's a viewing appointment on one of your listings, then registered buyers on Best Agent who've cleared the registration process, so we know they're verified buyers, will be able to book that viewing in one click. Right? Like they can do in most other industries. Once verified, they'll be able to go, click, see you there tomorrow. Bang, done, instant viewing. Now, you may not want viewings like that, so it's your control as the listing agent. You can decide if those kind of viewings exist. But if you want them, for qualified buyers, that's going to happen. That's the kind of thing you'll be able to do with your back office account for the properties on the portal. And it's going to be much richer functionality and engagement than any of the other websites. Bestagent.website. So we provide websites as well for agents that want them because we want to encourage good agents to get started up on their own without making them part of an umbrella brand. If they don't want to be, they can set up completely on their own and still have the whole CRM package and website package, that kind of stuff. And one of the things we're just designing right now is for the pricing structure for the CRM system for new startups will be on a pay per deal, subject to a small minimum, but a pay per deal. So as you get going, you aren't paying large CRM subscriptions when you're just getting started. So that's one of the ideas we've got. But once you get to a certain volume, it then makes sense to just pay the subscription. Last but not least, and one of the most powerful things that's going to help us get in the newspapers and on the media and the TV all the time, this bestagent.news is the house price data. And it's not just house price data for the public, but also it'll be agent performance data that we won't share with the public, but we will share with agents who are members of Best Agent and have a back office account, so that you can see the performance of other agents in your area, and you can choose to use that if you want to, in your pitches to try and win business. So everything I've just described to you is already built and live and working. And so not only have I got the tech and everything else, but I've also got the PRable data, because look how much news coverage house price indices get. And Rightmove's is a very small sample. It's new listings only. Zoopla's data is just this weird calculation that they won't reveal how it's calculated. It's not asking, it's not actual, it's not agreed. It's some weird thing. But they're 5% out compared to Nationwide and Halifax now, for example. And it's not the whole market. Nationwide and Halifax are very small mortgage only. So the Best Agent data, which I don't know if you guys are aware of or if you've seen it, it's already there. If you go to bestagent.news, I'll just give you a quick glimpse of it, right? So here we have, so this is just a few days old, and it's everything on the market that we can find. Total number of homes showing a sale agreed is there. Total for sale. What's happened to those prices since the numbers since the last snapshot? Median typical price, the average price. And this basically gives everyone, and we'll be able to break this down by region, by area, eventually by postcode, but it's much more transparency about what's actually happening. And the biggest thing to notice here is the difference between the price of unsold property and the price of property that's selling. Because the price of property that's selling is what's actually happening. That's the actual market. Look at the differences between the average price of what's selling and the average price of what's that's just showing you all the crap that's sitting on overpriced crap sitting on the market. So we've got the data to get the media's attention as well, and therefore build traffic to the website. So what I'd love to do now is to open up to questions. So in the live chat, or if you're watching here, so Mark, hello Mark, you're there as well. I'll bring you onto the screen. David, are you still there? We're just looking at your ceiling, but if you're still there, I would love your questions now about why you think Best Agent doesn't have a chance to actually start to make inroads into the public's perception and consciousness of what they should be doing when it comes to picking an agent and booking viewings on homes that they want to move to. So, tell me why you think Best Agent doesn't have a chance, and allow me to respond. Like, how can this David and Goliath of little old me and Best Agent up against the Zooplas and the Rightmoves? How do we have a chance of changing the market? Have you got any questions?
Obviously, if somebody's thinking of selling, how are they going to come across Best Agent? Because obviously, I'm looking at it from my perspective is that I want quality vendors coming to me. So how are you going to overcome? How are you actually anyone going to know who you are?
Well, with basically all the news coverage that I'm getting. So at the moment, I'm holding back. I'm on national telly 2 or 3 times a month at the moment. I'm in the newspapers most weeks. And at the moment, I'm holding back on talking about Best Agent and that house price data. But as soon as I'm ready with that house price data I just showed, I don't know if you actually were watching the screen when I demonstrated it, I've got house price data that directly challenges Rightmove's and Zoopla's house price data, which will get news coverage and which will get home movers wanting to come to Best Agent as a site that actually is a more transparent and truthful place to see what's happening in the property market and to find agents as well as to find homes. So that I'm expecting to get we already have a small trickle as it is now, but it's deliberately a very small number while we're testing and ironing out wrinkles. Okay. But we will generate, and again, David, because you're not paying a subscription, there's no pressure. If you see, we're not saying to people, hey, sign up and pay a subscription and then get leads. We're saying activate your Best Agent back office account for free, and the leads will come when they're ready. And until they do, it costs you $0. And when they start to come, you can decide if they're quality leads or not, but they don't cost you anything to respond to. That's the important thing, right? Unlike all of the other lead providers, You don't pay for the lead unless you choose to accept the instruction. So
yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot to play with, though, by looking at that, Charlie. If someone activates their account, they are given a toolbox of stuff to play with and look at and engage with. Is that right?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's absolutely nothing to stop people activating their account and just coming into your world and seeing what it's about.
No, exactly right. So any agent can activate their back office account at no cost, no obligation, and see what's there. Okay. So the back office CRM is chargeable, but there is a free back office version that allows you to receive the leads for nothing. But when you want to buy them, you buy it with a click. So if you get sent a viewing lead, and you decide if you want the viewing lead or not, and the price of the viewing lead is in the email, and you click to buy it, and they're all individually priced because they're based on the price of the property that's being inquired upon. And we're also going to have a no quibble refund policy. So if you think an applicant lead was a total waste of time, or for example was a no show at a viewing that you booked through us, just click. It's like almost self-refund. Will that be open to abuse by agents? Yes, but we will very, very quickly spot the ones who are obviously abusing it, and then they will get penalised for that. They won't, they'll lose certain privileges because we want to penalise bad acting agents as well as dishonest movers. So, for example, a mover who books a viewing and does a no-show will get one warning. They do it again, they will not be allowed to book viewings for another month. So we will actively penalise movers who don't have the bait, because they'll get reminders from us, right? They'll get viewing reminders with one click to cancel it if they want to, so that at least they don't leave you standing on the doorstep at a viewing. So, this is all strategy that's been used by Airbnb and Uber to get people on both sides of the transaction behaving better, right? So it's just going to be a better experience, whether it's choosing an agent, booking a viewing. It's going to be a better experience for agents and movers alike. Hi, Mark. Have you got any questions?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Obviously, as you know, I'm the outsider looking in, and for me, it's oh my God. Where do I start? I believe that agents need to be regulated. For starters, they need to be licensed. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be any bad apples when you're licensed, because in New Zealand, there was always bad apples when you're licensed. But when you know that they can take your license away from you and you cannot trade and you cannot sell a house, people do their job and do their work as they should do. Here as well, I'm constantly being bombarded by people telling me that they can get me leads and they can do this and they can do that and everything else. And I'm getting a little bit tired of that now, because I know what I can do, and it's been working really well, what I've been doing. I'll give you a quick overview of a story at the moment that I'm working with a very small developer that has been abused, because that's the word I'm going to use here, been abused by a Lincolnshire high street agency who have had her property, one of her new builds, on for a year, has not throughout that year given her one property report of listings. They get her to show the people around the property. I don't know how they've done that, but they've got her to actually show people around. There is now an offer on the property which has been accepted, and they couldn't even be bothered to put the memorandum on a noted letter. It was just on a piece of paper, A4 piece of paper that they sent to her, which was handwritten memorandum. It wasn't typed out. That is the level that I'm actually seeing, and I cannot believe that this is going on. And the people I speak to in Newark, just the general public, when I ask them their experience of working with agents, is the same thing. What is going off?
Yeah.
It's just one job.
Yeah.
You've got one job, and that is to sell somebody's property to a buyer, help the buyer to see the benefits of that property, and to basically bring these two people together. Why is that difficult?
Well,
why do
I'll tell you what, I'll answer your question, Mark. It's for 20 years of various tech and lead gen and corporate tactics that have basically changed the game away from what you've just described into who can do the best marketing or spend the most marketing or have the best prop tech and all that kind of crap. And the actual quality of service and the basics of a estate agency have been lost in the guff of all this crap. And that's what I want to work out. And also your comment on regulation, right, by the way. So I don't think regulation will help. I think regulation will benefit the corporates here. Because it's easier for them to adopt regulation than it is for smaller agents. It's just more burden for smaller agents. It won't stop the problems this industry faces. It won't stop the bad practices. And what will is best agents, like all of the tactics that I'm going to deploy, will actively penalize agents. For example, so at the moment, you can already flag a listing on Best Agent if you think it's fake or if you think it shouldn't be there. So agents will be able to take down other agents' listings. Right. And the public will be able to do the same. So you'll automatically take listings down. And if you are the listing agent or you're the owner, you will have the opportunity to go, no, that's a legit one, put it back up. And if that happens, then the person that took it down. So it won't be open to abuse very much. It'll be open to 1 or 2 instances of abuse and then it'll be stopped. But very quickly, it's in everyone's benefit. And the regular offenders who are listing either fake properties or properties shouldn't be there for any reason, will very quickly get warnings. And if they carry on doing it, they will simply be suspended. Because guess what? I'm not owned by a corporation. I can make the rules. And my rules are going to be play fair. And if you lie, if you're dishonest, and if you manipulate, and if you list properties that aren't actually real properties, you're going to get penalized. And so honesty will be rewarded and service will be rewarded and trickery will be penalized. You know, for example, agents who they reduce the price and then they put the price back up to trigger a Rightmove send out. Well, we will penalize that behavior. You know, we will publish on Best Agent that the agent's done that. Oh, this agent, they changed it back and they changed it back, just so you're aware. Because it's just, you need to know about portal juggling. Portal juggling is abusing the portals at the expense of the public, and it shouldn't be done. So, but this is why I want to be talking to agents, because I want to develop a community of agents around the country who we have these debates with, and we work out what the fair rules are, what actually works and what doesn't. I want to hear what agents want to happen, especially to penalize the big corporate when they abuse these websites. So, yeah, and what we need to do is to begin with is to get the honest, better agents around the country opening up their Best Agent back office account, which is free, and responding to the seller leads. And as soon as we've got enough, we only need 3 agents in every area to be set up on back office, ready to respond to vendor inquiries. And I can start promoting it heavily when I'm on telly, in my Moving Home with Charlie videos. I get 500,000 views a month, mostly from homeowners and movers. I can generate meaningful traffic. It won't be anything like Rightmove's for a while, but once that snowball gets going, once people realize that actually, as a buyer, you've got a better chance of a response from Best Agent than you do from Rightmove, and you don't have to publish your contact information, you watch, the snowball will grow. And they're going to be the forward-thinking kind of movers, the kind of movers that aren't time wasters, the better behaved people that like to treat people better. That's what will get rewarded. This is not some theory I think will work. I've seen this as a proven method of improving conduct on both sides. It's been done on a global level by other companies, and it works. The problem is the vested interests of the big agents and the portals here are going against that behavior. That's the problem. Guys, we've been here for an hour and a half. Do you have any more questions before we wrap up? Anyone in the comments? Anyone who's watching want to ask any questions about this? But I just want to start small, build it gradually, and above all, make sure that for the people using it, it works well, and then we build on that over time.
I think it'd be lovely to see engagement from some proper agents around the country. And your comments earlier about the fact that so many agents it is so low and they do so little because it is a numbers game and they get away with it. And I'd love to see that cut out. But we've got to live with that for a while. But hopefully people that are practicing that way will just go out of business. But it'd be lovely for progressive, service-driven agents to get on board with Best Agent, because I've worked with Charlie for a little while, and to be fair, he goes off on one and he upsets a few people, and he is what he is. But Christ, he does engage with a fairly sizable sector of the market, and as his search supplier, when Charlie talks about, well, this is the right thing to do, or this is a way you can go down, he generates activity. Now, okay, we are a national supplier. There's only one of us dealing with a national market, and you're all different agents all around the country. So it's a very different thing. However, Charlie is quite influential and has a chance of generating some significant activity by people that just want better. And there are a load of them. We have people in tears with us nearly every day talking about their searches and their conveyancer and all sorts of things, because they are so frustrated by being a passive participant in what's been happening. And it's been an absolute SHIT storm for them. And they just want someone to talk to and empathize with them. And that, okay, we deal with that. That's a nightmare. But the reality is the market is demanding better.
Yeah.
And if there are agents committed to delivering better, your stars will shine brightly. And if you commit to delivering better, you will succeed.
And I will make certain that in any way it can, Best Agent will allow those agents who consistently deliver better results, and consistently is the key word here, to be more easily found. There will be ways to earn a prominent position on Best Agent, not pay for it, but to earn it through actual delivery and feedback from movers over time. I've got one more question for you guys. What do you think about the idea of, I don't know if you've seen on Auto Trader, but they have a dial that shows whether a car is overpriced or not.
Yeah.
So the dealers list the property, the dealers list the car, and they have this thing that says whether it's a fair price or a high price or an average price or a low price.
That's in New Zealand.
What would you think about having something like that on properties?
So basically, it will tell you whether it's a good estimate or
whether it's
not such a
overvalued.
good. Visually, there you'd need to look at it. It's called Trade Me in New Zealand, trademe.co.nz, and basically go on there. That is the main portal in New Zealand, and then there's other ones which are called realestate.co.nz, but Trade Me is the dominant one there. But also, there's another thing on there that I quite like that I don't see on the portals here, which is a counter at the bottom of the page showing how many people have actually viewed that page. So you can actually see it physically. Yeah. I know with Rightmove, they keep it away from you. They keep all that information. So you don't know how many people, how popular is. I've looked at the graph that they've got that I have to send out to my client, and it's pathetic. Whereas the information I get from Trade Me is really, really good. It goes down, it drills down into male, female, mobile, desktop, etc.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. So I know who's looking at what from where, who's, there's just more information, and it's free and available. You don't have to fight for it. It's there. It's quite disappointing.
Well, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to provide valuable data for free if it helps the process.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
But people that go on the portals and they see the counter in New Zealand, people will go to the bottom first, have a look at the counter. If they see that it went on, say it went on last week and it's had 800 views, they think, wow, that must be a good property.
Yeah. That's when you. So you guys, David, what would you think about having a like overvalue meter on a house's price?
Oh, I think a potential seller would be horrified.
Well, but the thing is, the sellers. What you can say to sellers is, Best Agent lists all properties. Like they don't. The agent doesn't choose to list them there, so it gets you off the hook.
Yeah, it does. I do like the thought of it, but unfortunately, sort of a large percentage of sellers are stupid and think the house is worth more than everybody else, and they disagree with the price anyway.
This will help that problem.
But having their property advertised saying it's above its value.
This will help stop overvaluing.
It certainly would, but it'll never stop. Overvaluing them will never stop.
Well, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Well, I've got another 10 years of working, so I'll give you 10 years to do something about it. Until I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, I would like to wrap up by thanking Daniel for his time. Thank you guys for coming as well. Daniel,
I'll just apologise for getting on my soapbox and effing and seeing earlier on, because I clearly
Okay.
upset some people. But, you know,
I like that. I like.
it shows
like
passion, but
let's keep the market as it is now, because it'll start weeding out all those people.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely 101% behind you on that.
Good.
So for all the agents watching this, I know there's some of you watching live now, but a lot of you watching this after it's when we finish the live stream. Daniel is a national provider of property search packs. They are fast, they are reliable, they are delivered personally. And what I recommend all agents do, especially in this market where holding deals together is a little bit harder than usual, is to encourage.
Well, like I said, we've got more and more agents engaging with us because they don't want to throw deals together that aren't going to stick. And a memorandum of sale is great, but it's not a financial commitment. It's not seeing the whites of their eyes and the colour of their money. Actually getting them to commit to buy their searches, not as a condition, but it's not coming off the market until you commit to this transaction. And enabling people to buy their searches on day one does a number of things. One, it gets them to commit to the transaction. Two, most importantly, it fires the starting gun for the conveyancer. The conveyancer cannot hide behind the fact that those searches have been ordered. We had a client 2 weeks ago that said, fantastic news, Dan. All the search pack landed on my conveyancer's desk before they'd even opened a file. And now they called me yesterday and said, we're now ready to exchange. That's 2 weeks after opening a file, because they had nowhere to hide. They had to get on and do it. So agents that seriously want to go about doing things different, want to do, have a standout point where they can go, I'm the only agent in my area doing this, committing buyers in this way, because it halves transaction times and it commits buyers and weeds out the good from the bad. Yeah. We're here for you. We'll build white label systems for you to enable people to buy searches with all your stuff all free, just to commit these buyers and get these transactions through.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I get off my box again.
Guys, thank you very much. No, thank you, all of you. Mark, not Graham. Mark, nice to see you. David, nice to see you. Thanks for watching. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if you haven't already done it and you are an honest, professional agent anywhere in England and Wales, I urge you to go to bestagent.co.uk, click on where it says agents, and set up your free back office account so you can respond to leads when they come in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.